Welcome to No Broken Legs. I am your host, Evan Belfiore. Joining me to discuss the last week of the NFL season to see who will be in and who will be out of the playoffs is Jimmy Champ. Jimmy, we got a light dusting of snow up here in Cleveland. Did you guys get anything down in Ravenna?
Yeah, a little bit of Ravenna, a little bit more in Streetsboro, getting closer to Cleveland. But yeah, a little bit of snow on the ground. It definitely feels like playoff football weather in Northeast Ohio.
That it does. And right now, the AFC and NFC, 3 of the 4 divisions in both conferences are settled. The NFC West still needs to be officially decided, as does the AFC East. We will get to those games here in a minute. There are 3 playoff spots left up for grabs. We will get to those in a minute. But first, we start with our Cleveland Browns, who are home, hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. The spread on this game right now is Cleveland is favored by 6 points, which is quite a lot considering Cincinnati does have an outside shot at the 1 seed. The way Cincinnati can clinch the 1 seed is if they win and then Tennessee and Kansas City both lose and then either New England loses or Buffalo wins. I'm not sure how many of the starters Cincinnati is going to play. Kevin Stefanski earlier this week said healthy players will play. One player we know who will not be in this game is Baker Mayfield. That means Case Keenum is starting. I think this game's a total stay away in terms of betting. What do you think, Jimmy?
Oh, no, not at all. The reason the line is what it is, Zach Taylor's pretty much said that his offensive weapons are going to sit. Anybody that's a little dinged up is going to sit, which I think is a horrific mistake because I think they're going to end up getting the Patriots in the first round. And then we're going to hear the Bengals fans realize how far away their team is too. But yeah, I'm all on the Browns on this. I think they've got a lot of players on this team with a lot to fight for, a lot to prove, a lot of guys who can still look to get more tape on themselves for their next contract. I think the Browns are going to play well in this game. I believe they'll win this game by a touchdown, so give me the Browns all day.
All right, well, the Browns have been pretty up and down, and I don't really trust Case Keenum to beat anybody by a touchdown, so I will take Cincinnati, but this game doesn't really, I don't know, at this point, does 8-9 do anything for you?
Yes.
Yeah, I think 8-9 does look a lot better than 7-10. Like, I know it's only one game, but not having double-digit losses is a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal. I think 8-9. 8-9 is certainly better than 7-10, so I hope they get there.
Yeah. Mary Kay Cabot reported this week that Baker wanted to see changes or he was going to demand a trade. Baker then immediately responded by saying he did not demand a trade and that Mary Kay Cabot was reporting falsehoods. I don't necessarily trust Mary Kay Cabot's reporting. I'm going to assume you don't either. Do you think this might be one of those circumstances where they were talking and, if Baker Mayfield is going to the team saying, I would like to run the ball more and run more of a consistent offense that isn't in the shotgun all the time, I would agree with him. I think you would too. Do you think it would be unwise for him to say that?
No, not at all. And I mean, this all stemmed from Baker's critique of what happened to Hudson in the Steelers game. And he had every right to say that. Like, no, I mean, there are only a couple head coaches in this league that are probably uncriticizable by their players. And Kevin Stefanski is not there yet. Like, we've all seen him make coaching mistakes on the offensive side of the ball this year. Baker was not wrong. Hudson should not have been left alone with TJ Watt play after play. And we continued to run play after play where the hot route was right over TJ's head. Like, Baker had every right to criticize the coaching game plan in that situation. And I hope Baker Mayfield has gone to his coaching staff and said, man, why aren't we running the ball a little bit more? Why am I not, I'm really having trouble just staying in the pocket and throwing footballs. I need to still boot more. I need to move around more to see better lanes, to make better throws. I hope that's what happened. That's what's happened. But the thing that was funny to me, and not that I think any of them are near the level of Baker Mayfield talent-wise, like Mary Kay had her report and her tweet, and then Baker quote tweeted Mary Kay and really kind of went at Mary Kay a little bit. And then Derek Anderson, Brandon Whedon, Deshaun Kaiser, and I think there was even one more ex-Browns quarterback all said the same thing, that, the journalists in Cleveland, they don't know what to do when the right move isn't burn it all down and start all over. They have trouble reporting on, it was a mediocre season, but there's pieces to build on.
If there's no drama, they have to find it.
And that's pretty much what it feels like, because I just feel like, we've been talking about it, like our local Cleveland media, I just feel like they're making shit up. Like, I really do.
Well, I guess the first point of this is, Baker Mayfield knows nobody's going to trade for him after the season he just had, and the fact that he's going to be having surgery in, 2 weeks? I think they said the 16th is when his surgery is.
Yeah.
Nobody's trading for him when he's injured and having surgery.
Much like, I think Baker Mayfield knows the same thing that you knew in week 5, which was next year will be Baker Mayfield's contract year.
Yeah, and when I see, I saw a clip from Peter King was on, I think, Dan Patrick or Rich Eisen or somebody, and the title of it was talking about Baker Mayfield's contract extension, and it was like, what? This was decided months ago. Like, what are you talking about? He's not getting a contract extension. Why are we even talking about this? It just seems like silly season has come, and I think a lot of this is just ginned up bullshit. What I really hope is not happening is, I hope that this isn't one of those, somebody in the front office is giving Mary Kay something because they want to see a certain outcome happen, and they're trying to pressure the people in the room, because we saw that for 20 years and we know that doesn't fucking work. That is not the path forward to winning football games.
Yeah, I hope and believe we're past that in the front office. So, I guess we'll see.
So I guess one of the follow-up questions I'd like to ask about Baker Mayfield to you specifically is, why can't the team just come out and say, we think Baker will be better next year when he's healthy? Like, why hasn't anybody from the team come out and said that at any point at all? Like, nobody's come out and said that really at any point, and I don't understand that.
Well, it's kind of been said the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you saw it in, it could just be he's a company guy and he's, okay with this role. He did make $7 million, but Case Keenum, had a long talk and said, what Baker's gone through this year, man, I want, a lot of the guys want to play for him. I want to be his backup because he played through a lot of stuff. And I think maybe part of the reason nobody has said that is because then it brings into play, why didn't you sit him down immediately after the Texans game, figure out what was wrong, and get it fixed going forward? Why did you let him play injured?
That may be what the real disconnect is, because there have been problems with players in the Browns medical staff in the past. And even this year, Jedrick Wills wasn't happy about how they handled his ankle injury. And he played like 2 or 3 weeks where he never finished the game, and then they sat him out a week or two, and he came back, and he looked significantly better with a week off.
Yep. So that's the reason I think they haven't done it, to answer your question, is because then it opens up the doors of, well, why did you let him play if he was so injured?
Yeah, and I guess that opens up a whole that's a question that they haven't really had an answer for. Like, at no point this season has there seemed to be an answer for that. And we'll definitely have more time to get into the Browns, and we'll do that moving forward. Right now, we'll see what happens this weekend with the game. If they can't beat Cincinnati's backups and they have most of their starters on the field, that'll leave a really salty taste in everybody's mouth to end this season. I really hope that doesn't happen.
No, they'll probably, with Case Keenum, they'll probably beat the shit out of the Bengals backups, and then we'll hear about, this is what they should have looked like all year with Case Keenum.
I just don't understand why they never ran. The only week that we saw the offense that we really wanted to see from them where they pounded the ball was the week against Denver, where Keenum was the quarterback. And I don't understand why we didn't see that offense with Baker Mayfield as quarterback. And then just expand the passing playbook by 25%. Like, I don't understand why we never saw that.
Right, and you think, and Chubb didn't even play in that game. Like,
that was D'Ernest, and he went wild.
Yeah, we never got to see that offense, but that was also one of the games where the offensive line was in its healthiest spot. So I don't know. It all goes together. But Kevin Stefanski's got to bounce back, right? Like, he was great. He was great his rookie year as a head coach. He was bad this year. Now he's got to bounce back next year. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and it does seem like the league adjusted to what he was doing. Not just him. A lot of the other offenses that run like that had problems this year. So he's going to have to come up with a counterpunch. I think he can do it. And I think you think he can do it. We just need to see him do it, and it's going to happen next year.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the rest of the Week 18 slate, which is a weird thing to say. The Baltimore Ravens are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Ravens are 5.5-point favorites. The over-under sits at 41.5. The scenarios for this are as follows. The Ravens clinch the playoffs if they win, and Indianapolis, the Chargers, and the Miami Dolphins all lose. Pittsburgh can make the playoffs if they win, Indy loses, and the Chargers and Vegas don't tie. And just a quick note, I am not going to even really use ties in these, but in this one, it was a specific. So the Chargers and Vegas play each other. We'll get to that game later. But I'm not going to consider ties in a lot of these because they're so rare.
Yeah, but I mean, it is wild to think that if the Chargers and Raiders just went out there and took knees for an hour, they'd both make the playoffs.
Yeah, which is pretty funny. This feels like a field goal game to me, Jimmy. These teams are both trying for the playoffs. Neither offense has been able to get a whole lot going lately. I really like the under. I'm taking Pittsburgh, though, because this is Roethlisberger's last game with the team, and I think they'll be up and they'll keep this close. Feels like a field goal to me.
Give me the Ravens. I also like the under. I actually completely disagree with you. I don't think either one of these teams wants to go to the playoffs. I think both of these coaches, both of these teams are ready for this season to be over. I do think the Ravens will get the win. I think they'll beat Roethlisberger up some more. I think they'll actually stop Najee Harris from running the football, and their defensive players won't throw shoes. So I think
that'll be a big plus for the Ravens.
Yeah, I think the Ravens will win this football game by a touchdown. So give me Baltimore.
Ooh, it's not often we disagree on two right off the bat. I like it.
No.
Our next game sees the Tennessee Titans. They are playing the Houston Texans in Houston. The Titans are 10-point favorites. The over-under sits at 43. Tennessee is currently your 1 seed in the AFC. They clinch the 1 seed with a win, or if Kansas City, Cincy, and New England all lose, or if Kansas City and Cincy lose and Buffalo wins, the easiest path for them is just to win. I think they come out here and win this game and clinch the top seed in one of the more unlikely 1 seeds that we've had in an NFL season.
I refuse to change my tune on the Tennessee Titans. This is the same team that got beat by Houston by 30 points a few weeks ago. This is the same team that let the Steelers score 21 points in the fourth quarter a couple weeks ago. I think the Houston Texans are going to win this football game. I think Tennessee can say whatever they want about not looking past Houston. Of course you're looking past Houston. And David Culley and Lovie Smith have this team playing hard. They were actually in a battle with San Francisco last week until like 3 huge calls went San Francisco's way. I think Houston's going to win this game outright. I love the chaos. I think Kansas City gets the 1 seed. So give me the Texans in the money line, bud.
Right on. Another note for Tennessee, Derrick Henry went back to practice this week. Yeah. So getting the 1 seed and having that extra week to get him back into the fold will be huge for them. Like you said, if Tennessee falls, Kansas City would be the team first in line to benefit. They're traveling to Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos. The Chiefs are 10.5-point favorites. The over-under sits at 44.5. Kansas City clinches the 1 seed with a win and a Tennessee loss. The last time these two teams played, Kansas City won 22-9. I expect something similar. I think the Chiefs bounce back after a pretty awful performance against Cincy in the second half.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, but I am very curious to see how Kansas City plays for 60 minutes. I was just stunned by their performance in the second half. Andy Reid's old ghost of still not really understanding time management and things like that.
Maybe on 3rd and 27, don't go zero blitz and leave your guys one-on-one with a guy that's having a record-setting day. Just a thought, Spagnola. Just tossing that out there for you. Yeah, they really made some mistakes there. I think they will bounce back well, but I'm curious to watch this game. I really am, because that has to still leave a sour taste in their mouth that they need help now for the 1 seed. I do think they will get it. So give me Kansas City. I do like the over here. I think they'll score a lot of points, but they might let Denver score a lot of points too. I don't know. I don't think Denver's capable of scoring a lot of points.
Oh, stop it.
Another team I'm suspect on when it comes to scoring a lot of points, even though they've done it this year, is the New England Patriots. They are traveling south to take on the Miami Dolphins. New England is favored by 6.5 points. The over-under is 40. The Patriots can clinch the 1 seed with a win, and Buffalo losing, Tennessee losing, and Kansas City losing. The AFC East is up for grabs. New England gets it with a win and a Buffalo loss. You got Tua versus Belichick here, Jimmy. How do you think this one plays out?
Well, I bet you, though, like, if there was one team that Belichick doesn't want to play this week, it's Miami, because just so much funky stuff has been happening.
It's always weird. Well, it's always weird when they play in Miami.
Yeah, so I'm taking Miami to cover. I don't know if Miami can win, but I do think they'll keep it to a field goal. I think this is going to be a close game. I think this may be, as much as it's Tua versus Belichick, I don't really know how much you can take away from Tua's 5-yard passes. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think this may be more about Flores versus Mac. So, there are some really good games, really intriguing games this week. This is one of the ones I'm excited to watch. So I'm going to take the Dolphins to cover. If they won, I wouldn't really be that surprised.
Wow. I'm going to take New England here because I think so here's the problem with a lot of these games. Like, let's say New England gets halfway through the game and they realize, well, I guess with New England and Buffalo, that's not as much of a thing because they both need to win the division. But like Kansas City, like, does Tennessee just put a whooping on them or put a whooping on Texas, and Kansas City's like, well, we're not getting the bye. Let's just rest everybody the second half.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Be careful out there, everybody. I will take New England. Tua versus Belichick, I'll take New England every time.
It's understandable.
So we mentioned the Buffalo Bills. They're going to be home. They are taking on the New York Jets, which is who everybody wants to face the last week of the season. The spread on this is 16 points, Jimmy. The over-under is 41. If Buffalo wins this game, they win the AFC East, or if New England loses, but they control their own destiny. Set 16 is a big number.
It is. Do you happen to remember what the Bills' over-win total was for the year?
Well, give me 1 second. I can pull it up on my spreadsheet. The Bills' over-under was 11.
Yeah. So I really want the Buffalo Bills to win this football game to get the push
me
there.
Too.
I don't think the Jets have any fight left. I think Buffalo will actually cover this big-ass spread, and they'll go ahead and get their AFC East championship.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Buffalo wins this game. They have broken the glass on running Allen to win games. And that is them at their best when Allen is more involved in the running game because he's basically their only running game. Yep. This is a huge game for them. Buffalo can't lose this game and then let New England win the division. That would just be really disappointing for Buffalo to be a wild card team. I think they win. I think they cover. I think you're going to see Josh Allen in street clothes by the time the fourth quarter comes around. They're up by so much. Yeah,
absolutely.
Our next game is the Indianapolis Colts. They are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is in Jacksonville. The Colts are 15.5-point favorites. The over-under sits at 44. The Colts clinch the playoffs with a win, or if the Chargers and Steelers lose and the Dolphins win. But I think they get a win here, Jimmy, but I don't think Indy's going to be able to cover this massive spread.
No, so here's something that's wild. In the last couple the Jaguars are 2-2 against the Colts and like 2-30 against the rest of the league, some nonsense like that. I am going to take the Jaguars to cover. The last time I looked at the money line...
Is that because the Jaguars play the Colts the last week of the season every year?
Yeah, either the first or the last, yeah. The last time I looked, I think the money line was 700, so I'm probably going to bet the Jags money line as well in case Carson Wentz decides
plus
to throw...
700.
In case Carson Wentz decides to throw like 3 pick sixes or something wild. So I don't think it wouldn't surprise me if the Colts lost.
That'd be hilarious.
The game plan is still simple, right? It's not easy, but it's simple. Stop Jonathan Taylor and let Carson Wentz throw the football. Like, that's how you beat the Colts. Like, I don't know if the Jags can do it, but I bet they'll try. I don't know, man. This just feels like one of these teams that are locked to make the playoffs are going to slip somewhere. So
I feel like Indy's going to jump on Jacksonville early, and Jacksonville will just sort of once they get into halftime, they'll be thinking, I don't really want to stop Jonathan Taylor. I'd rather think about Cancun.
Yeah, no, that's legitimate. That is legitimate.
Our next game is a win, or this is the official loser goes home game. The LA Chargers are traveling to Vegas to take on the Raiders. The Chargers are 3-point favorites. The over-under on this is 49.5. The Chargers win and they clinch the playoffs. That's their only route, it seems. If Vegas can clinch with a win, or if Indy and Pittsburgh lose. Jimmy, this is kind of a big game for Browns fans to watch. A lot of people are talking about trying to go after Derek Carr. Does that talk go away if Vegas loses this game?
No, I don't think any talk about any quarterbacks are going away in Cleveland fan circles and Cleveland media. Unfortunately, I don't think it matters. I mean, like our buddy Vince said, Derek Carr threw the game-losing interception against us. And we just gave him a chance to win.
Well, everybody talks about his fourth quarter comebacks, but if they lose this game, he'll have only won enough games to qualify for the playoffs once in his career. Like, at what point are you just not a playoff caliber quarterback? That's what I don't understand about all the love for Derek Carr.
I'm with you. I'm taking the Chargers. I do think the under is a really sneaky good bet here because I think these teams are both going to play tight, knowing what's at stake. And then at some point, I think Justin Herbert will let it loose. But I do think early there's not going to be a lot of points in this game. So I like the under. I like the Chargers. And actually, I think for me, in my favorite scenarios, the Raiders lose, but they still go to the playoffs with other things I'm going to bet.
Yeah.
So that's what I have happening. But, I agree with you. Like, I don't think Derek Carr at this stage of his career is an upgrade over healthy Baker Mayfield. Like,
well, I mean, we said it. Even if he is better than Baker Mayfield or better than a healthy Baker Mayfield, I don't know how much better he actually is. I feel like if the Browns go after Carr, and let's say they trade Baker in a first rounder, and maybe they have to throw in a third rounder, I just feel like we're going to be right back where we were by the end of the season because Derek Carr is not the guy that Cleveland fans think he is.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree with you. You know this.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers too. This really just comes down to I'm taking Herbert over Carr.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers. They are traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions. Green Bay has clinched the number 1 seed. The Packers are 4-point favorites. The over-under sits at 44.5. This is one of those classic stay-away games for me because I have no idea who's going to play, and when you got backups on the field, who knows?
Well, this is actually a lock for me with Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, we know he's a petty dude. He's got some financial incentives that he can get to this week by playing another good game. And I think he can really lock up the MVP. Detroit's kind of been like a media darling this year. And if you go out and you just beat the shit out of Detroit, I think that kind of closes the case on who should be the MVP. Don't know if he will be, but it'll close the case on who should be. So I think
Rodgers has definitely been the MVP, even though I have a really nice bet on Tom Brady with really good odds that's not going to come through now. But this does feel kind of like a game that I talked about earlier. I think Rodgers and them might jump on him early and then take their foot off the gas and rest some guys just to get a little, just to be safe. I will also take Green Bay too because I think they're just a better team. Up next, Jimmy, we have your LA Rams are home. They are hosting the San Francisco 49ers. The spread on this is 4.5. The over-under is 44.5. The Rams clinch the NFC West with a win. San Francisco wins and they're in, or the New Orleans Saints have to lose for the 49ers to get in. Stafford has been awful the last couple of weeks, but it hasn't mattered. Do you think the Rams close the deal and win the NFC West here, Jimmy?
Well, as somebody that has a pretty nice bet on the Rams to win the NFC West, yes, the Rams are going to win the NFC West. I still believe in this Rams team. For them, it was a blessing that Odell became available when he did, so he could replace a little bit of Robert Woods' production. I think they are the better team in this game. I think defensively they will not have a problem stopping the two things that San Francisco can do. And I love this Rams team. I still think they've got a chance at the Super Bowl if Stafford can get his shit right. So give me the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams too. I don't think Jimmy G is going to play in this game. It seems like his injury is a little more severe than what they're letting on. I don't know if it's gamesmanship, but I think Trey Lance plays and he gets the Rams rookie treatment.
Yep.
The next game in the NFC West that has big implications is the Arizona Cardinals. They are home and hosting the Seattle Seahawks, who seem to just want to get this year over with. The Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites. The over-under is 48. The Cardinals need the Rams to lose, and then if they win, they will win the AFC West. I don't know really what to make of this game. This feels like another game where, Arizona by halftime may realize that they're not going to be able to win the AFC West, so they rest everybody in the second half. It's just, what do you think is going to happen here?
Well, I think the Cardinals are going to win this game easily. And I do think you'll see, I think you might see some gamesmanship from some of these teams trying to figure out who they feel they match up the best with to play in the playoffs. So I think some stuff like that might come into play. But I agree. I think you really kind of just talked about it to start. Seattle is ready for this year to be over. I think Arizona will win this game easily. They're obviously in the playoffs already. I don't think they'll get the NFC West, but they will make the playoffs this year.
I'm taking Seattle. I think that once Arizona realizes that the NFC West is out of grasp, a lot of guys will come out and Seattle will come back and keep it close.
Ooh.
Yeah. There's one last game with playoff implications. It is the New Orleans Saints traveling to the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints are 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is 40. If New Orleans wins this game and San Francisco loses, the Saints are in. I'm just amazed that New Orleans is even in this position where they even have a chance at the playoffs. I didn't think they would be very good this year, and Sean Payton just continues to prove me wrong.
Yeah, this isn't even hard for me. If you're asking me Sean Payton versus Arthur Smith, give me Sean Payton all day. The Saints are going to the playoffs, man.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints too. Do you think this is Matt Ryan's last game as a Falcon?
No, I think he'll be back next year.
Yeah, I think a lot of the QB carousel isn't going to happen because I don't know who Atlanta has as a better option. I don't know who Vegas has as a better option. We've talked about how we don't think Cleveland has a better option. I just think those teams in the middle are going to wind up sticking with their guys instead of trying to blow it up because there's no quarterback to go after this year in the draft.
Yeah. I mean, I think Atlanta may very well look at one of these 3 or 4 quarterbacks coming out and draft Matt Ryan's successor, but I don't think some of the players on Atlanta's team really progressed during the year. So I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Ryan came back to try to have one more year just a little better than he performed this year. It wouldn't surprise me. And I can see him kind of doing right by the organization that's done him right as well by kind of giving them that one more year to get the guy ready.
Yeah. All right, so we have 4 games left. None of these have any real playoff implications. Tampa Bay is home. They're taking on Carolina. Tampa Bay are 8-point favorites. The over-under sits at 41.5. Tampa's really beat up coming into this game. I like Carolina here to keep it close. I don't know if Tampa Bay wins this game, but I think Carolina covers.
Yeah, I agree. Carolina should cover. I don't think it matters for Tampa either way. They can't really move up or down, I don't believe. So I see Carolina probably winning this game outright. So I like the Panthers' money line too. The
Buccaneers could fall to the 3. Them and the Rams are currently tied at 12-4. So you might see something there, but I don't know. Our next game is Dallas traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. The Cowboys are 7-point favorites. The over-under sits at 43. Both of these teams are already in. Dallas has already clinched the NFC East. I'll take Philadelphia because I think they're going to want to try and do some stuff with Jalen Hurts maybe a little bit early. I just don't know who's going to be resting who. So I don't know. I haven't been able to pick Philadelphia right all year, so I'm just not going to do anything with this game in terms of gambling because the Eagles have been the bane of my existence this year.
Yeah, the Eagles and the Cowboys have been tough predictors for us all year. I'm going to take the Eagles as well, but this is an absolute stay away for me. If we didn't pick every game, I'd have no part of this. I don't know I don't know what either of these teams. What are they? I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Our next game is the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Chicago Bears. We could call this the "Is your coach going to be fired" bowl. The Vikings are 4-point favorites. The over-under is 44.5. Really what stands out in this game is, will Zimmer get another chance next season? And I feel like we're just waiting for Matt Nagy to be fired.
Yeah, I think both coaches are going to get fired, but I do believe probably a couple days after being fired, Mike Zimmer will re-sign as a defensive coordinator for somebody, unless he decides to just kind of hang it up. He's been a coach in the NFL for a long time. But I think he will go out with a bang, and he will just dominate Andy Dalton in this football game, because they do still have a good defense. So I love the Vikings here in this spot.
Yeah, I like the Vikings too. Our last game features the Washington. Reports say they're going to be the Admirals, which is not as good as the Armada, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, I think we'll keep calling them the Armada.
The Armada is taking on the New York Giants. Washington's 7-point favorites here. The over-under is 37.5. Really, the only thing to see in this game is, once it's over, are the Giants going to keep Joe Judge, Daniel Jones, and Gettleman? If they do, it'll make me happy, because that is not a winning formula.
I mean, like I said, man, they're doubling down on it. Joe Judge is giving some of the craziest ass press conferences I've ever heard a head coach do. He's getting kind of unhinged. No, so give me Washington here. This is a game that means nothing for a lot of players, but I still think in a game that means nothing, Washington's players are still better than the Giants players. And I think Ron Rivera will still have his team prepared and up for it a little bit. So give me Washington.
Yeah, I'll take Washington too. This Giants team is a mess, and they're just bad. Yep. Both New York teams are just bad.
Yep.
And any final thoughts here? I know we've got all the stuff going on with the playoffs, and we'll be able to wrap everything up next week, and we'll be able to see which coaches survive Black Monday. But just anything in particular that you really want, like which game is the one that you'll be watching the most this weekend?
I'm probably there's just going to be a lot of clicking, I think, between a lot of the games where I'm predicting chaos. But the Chiefs game is probably a game I'm really going to watch just to see, are they going to get all of my Super Bowl bets? Because they were playing so well before the second half of that game. So there'll be a lot of the Chiefs, but for me, it's the Rams game. I want to see what the Rams look like. And it's just weird to me because, a handful of weeks ago, Buffalo lost to Jacksonville. We thought Buffalo was done, and they gave those two horrible press conferences, and now they've got a chance to win the AFC East.
I guess there's something to those moral victories in Buffalo.
I guess, I still think Tennessee, without Derrick Henry, is a pretender. Now, if Derrick Henry comes back, then shit gets real for Tennessee, but without him, I don't think they go anywhere. But
I think Foreman's filled in really well for him.
Yeah, he has played well. He has, but it just doesn't have the presence that Derrick Henry does. But there's a lot of big games. I think probably the most interesting games are going to be the Patriots-Miami game and the Raiders-Chargers game.
Yeah, that's the game that I want to watch very closely. I want to see how Herbert looks in the first real big game of his career. Yeah. And I want to see how Carr looks, because if Carr looks mediocre, I'm going to use that as ammo against people that think Derek Carr's an upgrade over a healthy Baker Mayfield. Yeah, that's really what I'm watching that game for.
You don't get a lot of weeks where you have a game like this, where the last game of the season determines the last playoff spot. The viewership for this game is going to be out of this world. There are going to be aliens tuning in to watch this one. It's going to be an incredible game. I think, like I said, in the second half, Justin Herbert's going to put on a show. I'm excited for it. I'm excited. We're getting close to the playoffs. See if any of our preseason bets end up hitting for us. And man, I would love to see the Browns get one more win.
Yeah, it would be really nice to see Cleveland end the season on a win. Get to 8-9. You don't have a winning season, but at least you're close or closer. And to go 8-9, considering everything that's happened this season with Stefanski not being as good, with everybody, all the injuries, everybody being hurt, trying to get a new defense together, I would like to see them mostly bring back this team and get everybody healthy and give it another shot. I just don't know. I don't know if the front office is going to have the patience for that. I just don't. I hope they do, because you can't win consistently if you don't have consistency in your front office, coaching staff, and roster.
Yeah, no, to this point, I have no reason not to trust Barry to do the right thing. And I agree with you. I think you nailed it. The right thing is bring back every piece you can bring back and get everybody healthy you can get healthy. That's how this team goes back to the playoffs next year.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be here to wrap everything up next week. We'll talk about the playoff matchups, who's in, who's out. We'll take a look at what coaches got fired, and that'll be what we do. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Jimmy, thank you for joining me today.
No place I'd rather be, brother.
And we want to thank you all for listening. For Jimmy Champ, I'm Evan Belfiore, and we are No Broken Legs.
Every action has a repercussion. Lyrical bullets don't make me get the bussin'. Represent